Hello, everybody. Welcome to Phonogenics 101. We are back with an abbreviated version of the Stevie Nicks crew. I'm having a little bit of a rough month. This is my first podcast I'm doing without my little cat, Lucy, that I had to put to sleep last week. So this is my first podcast without Lucy. I just wanted to have a little intimate group of friends here to talk about Stevie Nicks. So thank you for joining me, friends. Tonight we're talking about 24 karat gold. This came out in 2014, right?
Yep.
Yep.
So I have the standard edition. I have the photo book.
Yes.
And then I have the vinyl as well.
Oh.
So let's go around the circle and everybody introduce themselves.
Oh, here it is.
Jim, do you want to go first?
Yeah, I can go. Welcome back, everybody. Well, I'm Jim, and I'm from Sweetwater, Tennessee. I moved down here from South Dakota in 2006. Been a fan. I've been like this. I hate to go through the whole thing. I've been a fan since the 70s, from like the Fleetwood Mac days, and that's about it.
Thanks for joining us for 24 karat gold. Alicia.
Hey, yes. If I didn't show up tonight, it would be weird because I've had fun marching along with you, like through all of her
From
solo.
the beginning. You're from the beginning.
Yes. Beyond that, I am probably the newest fan. I started following in 2007, and I've really enjoyed it. This is seen Stevie 3 times, and 4 if you count the one Fleetwood Mac show, and so we'll have fun discussing.
Awesome. Nathan.
Hello, everyone. My name is Nathan, and I'm from Portland, Oregon, and I'm here to say that it's just nice to be back with y'all and talk about 24 karat gold again. I have a lot of thoughts on these, the different tracks on the album, and I'm interested to hear what everybody else's thoughts are on these tracks too. Hello, everyone.
Hi.
All right. And last but not least, we have Roland.
Glad to see you after 2 months absence. Been a long time fan. Seen her 29 times. Yay. Last time in Seattle for the 24 karat gold tour, which I was very happy to have seen. And I love this album, so I'm very happy to discuss this record.
All right. So, out of nowhere, Stevie Nicks came out with an album in 2011, which was In Your Dreams, which we talked about 2 months ago. And I was surprised to get a new album from Stevie. But then when she started posting that she was doing another album in 2014, I was like, what? Because, it was such a long gap between Street Angel and Trouble in Shangri-La, and then between Trouble in Shangri-La and In Your Dreams. So the fact that she was in the studio already, I was like, okay, this is interesting. What could she possibly be doing? The first clip she posted, I think, was her in the studio doing the little vocal improvs on I Don't Care. And
Really?
Yeah, I think she did like a little Instagram thing, and maybe not the most promising indicator of what was to come with 24 karat gold. But eventually it was revealed that Dave Stewart told her to go, I don't know if he told her, but suggested she goes to Nashville to work with studio musicians and to knock out some of the demos that she's had kicking around for years. So 24 karat gold is an album of mostly re-recorded songs that we all had throughout the years. So I think song by song, it's going to be a debate. Like, do we like the demo version that we grew up with or the studio version? And, there were a couple surprises on the album, which we'll get to. But overall, I just think the 2010s were a great decade of creativity for Stevie Nicks. With In Your Dreams, with the album and the documentary, I think she just loved them both. And then with this album, she had the album, and then she did an art exhibit in New York City where the Polaroids that were featured in the album art, she did a art exhibit. So I feel like Stevie just got to do a lot of really cool things in the last decade. And then I mentioned the photo book. Let's just show a little bit of it if I can. Roland, do you have it also? Yeah. Alicia has it too. These are pretty hard to find now, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
So I can't get mine out of the sleeve. Here we go. Yeah, it's all these Polaroids.
I haven't seen any of these books. Where did these come from?
They were sold on the
pre-sale. I think it was.
No.
Yeah, they're right. They're from the Stevie Nicks website, so you had to get them on only from her website.
Yeah,
Cool.
And I think it's the only place you could get the deluxe edition on CD.
Yes, that's why
Yes, with the Blue Water song. Was it this?
Yeah, the little card sleeve.
Oh, hold
So
Cool, Alicia. I saw one in there, Alicia, that was like in 1991. I saw the time space do.
Well, I like this one, how she's looking
nice.
at all the old.
I like that one too.
That was pretty.
slide.
yeah, so like I guess back in '85 or whenever, Stevie got a Polaroid and documented a lot of her adventures via Polaroid. So this was a great opportunity for her to release some old songs and some old pictures. So
Yeah, it was a good package. That the old photos, just looking at them on the internet, it got you kind of into that time period when this stuff was written.
yeah, and even the title, she called it like her golden trunk of like lost song. I can't remember the exact words, but
Yeah.
Gothic trunk of.
yeah. You're right. It was definitely a gothic trunk.
Yeah.
And what a great way to frame the album, because it really was. And before we go into the album, I will just say I loved it. Like, I love that she did this. I loved how she did it. And I think this is a great era. Steven did not join us. I did invite Steven, and he said he just can't stand this album and he'd rather not be in the discussion.
You invited Stevie Lerner,
Yeah. Yeah. He's
as
one of
I
our,
call him. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Thank you for.
he's one of our OGs. All right.
Thank
So 24 karat gold. There's two different track listings, the standard and the deluxe. I'm going to go with the deluxe edition that has all 16 tracks. And it's interesting because usually deluxe editions kind of follow the same sequence, but on the two albums, they're totally in different track orders, which I don't understand. But I listened to the standard one a couple times just to experience it, and I definitely think the deluxe version is better.
No kidding. Don't they both start with Starshine and end with? Do they both start with Starshine and end with Blue Water?
Yes. Yep.
They do.
But the standard track number 2 is Dealer, which is much different than the other one.
Well, the deluxe one ends with "She Loves Him Still," and "Blue Water" is a couple songs up.
Right.
The water
I
right
didn't
in the
think yeah, you're right.
So I'm going to tell you guys the track list on the standard one, since we're not doing this one, just for context, and then we'll get into the deluxe. So the standard one opens with Starshine, then The Dealer, Mabel Normand, Blue Water. I can't read. Oh, okay. Cat House Blues, 24 Karat Gold, Hard Advice, Lady, I Don't Care, All the Beautiful Worlds, Belle Fleur, If You Were My Love, Carousel, and then ends with She Loves Him Still. So a very drastically different sequence than on the deluxe edition. What an odd choice. Can you guys think of any other albums that are totally arranged drastically different in deluxe?
Yeah.
And
Yeah, because Cat House Blues on ours or this one's like third to last. So I'm used to hearing it third to last,
yeah.
not like way up there as you say.
And isn't Dealer second to last? I'm used to hearing Dealer second to last.
Yes.
Yes.
Which I think really makes sense in the trajectory of the album.
Okay.
All right. So they both start with Starshine, which was never one of my favorite demos. I think it's one of those ones like I listened to it for like 3 seconds. I'm like, nope, not this one. If I'm not mistaken, wasn't it the Heartbreakers that were the musicians on this? The demo version?
Yeah.
During the 24 Karat Gold tour, Stevie did one of her monologues talking about how she was in the basement with Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, and they just wrote the song really fast. And then it sat in the Gothic trunk for many years. The demo version isn't very much different than the released one, is it? She didn't do too much different.
I don't remember it.
I don't remember the demo. I wasn't impressed by it, but I like this one.
Yeah, so what do y'all think of Starshine? I thought it was a great album opener.
Yes.
If
I love that bang, 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 bang at the beginning. That's a great way to start off the album. And that middle part with that cool 70s organ, like the mod TV show from back then. I'm just not crazy about the lyrics, like he said, she said, he said, they said, but it's a great track. Other than the he said, she said, and whoever said.
It's all about the he said, she said bullshit.
I know.
Well, it's to me, it's a good sing-along song. It's
Yes.
really, this album to me has a lot of bass to it, maybe more so than what some of her other albums are. Because
I wouldn't sing along with it.
So you don't like Starshine?
I do not like Starshine. I do not like Starshine, but I like that the crowd does. And I like that Alicia thinks it's a good sing-along song. That's an interesting point of view on it. But, you know, the challenge comes for me. It's like, if I really don't like that song, then I have to have a good alternative album opener. And I don't. I can't quite think right off the top of my head what's a better one to open the album with. Mabel Normand? No, it's so sad. You don't want that to open the album with. So, no, I don't like Starshine. I think it's a throwaway song, just like Starshine, and what's the other one on the album that's very close to it? Sounding.
Belle Fleur?
I don't care.
No, that's not. No, Roland, that's not a throwaway song. That song is a treasure.
I don't care.
No.
Karat.
Blue Water. Blue Water.
What?
Blue Water.
Yeah, well, I'll know it when it comes up. I'm sorry. No,
Watch
I don't
Jane.
like Starshine.
Hard
Guys. I'm
advice.
sorry that I can't specify all the reasons why,
Okay.
but I think it's you know, it's great in terms of the energy, but man, everything else just sucks the air right out of it and pulls the rug out from under what would be otherwise good about the energy and the.
I did feel like the organ solo was a little David Letterman's house band ish.
I do think that organ solo is cool, Roland. That's a good
Yes,
point there.
it's very mod. It's very mod.
I feel like Paul Schaefer showed up in this. Jim, what did you think of this song?
It's a great opener. I like it. It's up tempo. It reminds me of some of the musical textures of like the 1970s Rolling Stones stuff.
Yes.
They would throw out a song every 2 weeks, seem like, and it's just kind of that thing. I think Waddy's I don't know if he's even on this, but and Dave, they like the Stones. That's kind of their thing. And it's, they probably were in the studio saying, let's make a little Stonesy opener real quick, really bright and fresh, and just go through it, hit it real quick, and get a good start on this.
Yeah.
Lisa, do you have more thoughts on this one?
I mean, I like it as an opener. It's upbeat. I consider it fun just because there's, when she does the and hits, and I always want to scream wrong. She doesn't finish that line. And to me, this is the album I throw into the car, and I can just kind of drive. And that's why I said sing along, because it's that album for me.
What the hell is she talking about though? Star sign, you used to be silver. Run away. Like, I guess this isn't
run on down. You made me shiver.
Well,
which rhymes with silver, kind of. Someone said the song was about icicles.
About icicles.
Icicles.
Definitely about neurological events.
I can't picture it on any other Stevie Nicks album though. Can you? I feel like this isn't the home where it belonged.
Well, it's interesting that wasn't this originally demoed for like Belladonna?
Yeah.
I think it hangs with the theme of the Wild Heart and the frost-covered windows.
Okay. And it does have the organic, of course, heartbreaker sound of Belladonna since they were on the album. So
yeah.
Could it have been a B-side to one of the singles from Belladonna? Yes, it could have, I guess.
That's a deep B-side, in my opinion.
Just how you like it, right? All right. Do we have any other thoughts on Starshine?
I like it. I like it. Yeah.
All right. So track 2. There was an acoustic version. And then there was a rock version during Mirage. Then there was like a bossa nova version for Street Angel, which is one of the best / worst things ever. And then finally, after many, many years and many versions, If You Were My Love finally found a home on a Stevie Nicks album. So what do y'all think of this song? Okay, Jim, then Roland.
Okay. I like with a lot of these songs, this one included. I consider this like her backup songs from like the Mirage, the Rumors, the Belladonna, the Wild Heart. A lot of this stuff just didn't make it, but they're really, really good songs. The ones that were written at that time. I mean, she had a trunk load, and this is another trunk, a good trunk load of what she had. And they're good songs. They're understandable. They're good tune. They're good musically. This album is more to what I like musically. It is very much like Belladonna and of that time. But I think the musicians that played on this probably grew up as kids. I think there's probably a lot of young Nashvilleites on this. There's no liner notes of who was on this. I think it's written on the sleeve that some of the main players in her life were in this. But
Nashville studio guys, right, Jim?
Yeah, I think these are the younger, the Lady Antebellum,
the Wrecking Crew.
Yes, not particularly that band, but I'm just talking about people that grew up on classic rock and they love this stuff, and it shows in the music. It was played well, and they sound like they were having fun making. I think they pretty much run these tracks before Stevie put the vocal on, and I think Stevie says, "I want to do it this way." Well, the track's already put out, so I think Dave said, "Hey, you just get in there and put your best vocal on it." But I mean, she's probably sung these songs since there were when she wrote them, and they just didn't, because I can tell she sings these like she's always sung them, they're very familiar to her. It's not like she's covering someone else's stuff. It's like this is her stuff, and she's probably sung these all her life through the good and the bad times.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And I didn't say much about this song and just about this album.
I do feel like it had a much more organic, less processed, synthesized sound.
The harmonies on this were absolutely terrific. The girls and Stevie, and it builds, and it was given its proper studio treatment, because I've heard the demos too on this, and I like the demo. It's a familiar demo, so I like it. It's as good. It certainly fits this record, and it fits with her material, with her catalog. It definitely, it's just another brick in her catalog that, builds that big old building of her career.
Yeah. All right, Roland.
I just want to say that this song's been around forever since Mirage. It might have been on Mirage. I kind of like the one on the Mirage expanded deluxe edition, where the put something on the piano, put some glitter or shine. She says, "Remember that?"
Yeah.
Sparkle. Put some sparkle on the guitar or piano. I kind of like that version a little better. So it would have been really interesting if Fleetwood Mac did it rather than herself in 2014 or whenever it was.
Yeah, a lot of these lend themselves to Fleetwood Mac well.
So
I remember I really like the harmonies at the end. Isn't there a 3-part harmony with Christine and Lindsay and Stevie? And
yes, I think so.
And the band almost goes into like a disco rock kind of thing, which is so different than what we get here. Alicia, what do you think of this one?
Well, Roland makes me feel better, because I was sitting here going, I liked the ballad version off of the Mirage Deluxe. When I heard that one, it was like, ooh.
Yeah.
It really just kind of grabbed me. This one, it's good, but it didn't have that bring shivers up my spine sort of thing, where I don't know what it is with Christine and what Buckingham brought that made it so amazing. It has been a little while since I've listened to it, but that definitely would be my favorite version. So thank you for not making me feel like I'm the only one, Merlin.
I think the Mirage one, if I remember the correct version, it was kind of like a Tusk kind of sound to the the beat to the Mirage era versions or version.
I think there's
It's more
belladonna. There's belladonna versions too, which were more acoustic, kind of like
yes, and this one has that, that slow, guitar sweeping ocean, the ocean kind of like sweeping guitar, long solo thing, which I'm not crazy about in this song. Yeah, so that's my opinion.
Now, who here has heard the Street Angel Bossa Nova version?
I have.
Isn't it terrible?
Yes, but I always liked how her and the girls did. It's the line, got my cross to bear, and they kind of like.
The
girl
backup
says
vocals.
one line, and then she says it on top. It's almost like parts, but they kind of. And I always thought that was cool, but
I like the hula dancer background vocals are like, ooh. It's so bad, but so good. I love it.
it's bad. But I just found that really interesting how they did the harmonies to that line.
Can't you picture Stevie walking the studio like a little bit bigger with crimped hair, like just going up to the microphone and doing that Bossa Nova version?
Yeah.
Nathan, what do you think of If You Were My Love?
Well, I think it was really a low point on the 24 Karat Gold album, to be honest with you. But that's because I thought that some of the things that she did in the early 80s with that song were so cool, because it didn't used to be this big, long 3-minute plotting thing about crosses to bear, which what a trite phrase. I mean, it just is not a phrase that speaks to me or works for me in any way, shape, or form. So I think that phrase should go. And I think that, oh yeah, Jim, I'm about to lay some shit down. Just watching Jim's face here. And so I think that phrase right there really pulls the rug out from what would otherwise be a really cool song. And I really think that what she did in the early 80s, because you didn't know, and that was what was neat about it, is you didn't know when that first bit about whether you're dialing for numbers or and I can't quite come up with the whole thing, but it was about 3 or 4 verses fit into one intro. Do you know what I'm talking about? You guys know? In the 80s, you didn't never know when that little intro about the crosses and the numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Dial and this, and the moon goes over the mountain and blah, blah, blah. You didn't never know where that was going to end back in the day. But now you know right where it's going to end, right where it should, But in the day, it was different. Do you guys understand? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry.
I
built up a
somewhat
lot
of a rambling
back there
song
making
that she kind of
things.
fixed up and got some structure to it, is what you're saying. Well, and I have to say, with this album, and this is, I think, some of the things that I, listening to it and then pulling old demos here the last several years, when she sung them sometimes in the 70s and 80s, she was a little bit closer to whatever created that song. I don't know if it's the heartbreak or and so there was at least to me, listening to them, there's a lot more of that emotion, that intensity. Whereas some points in this record, I kind of felt like she was just singing it because she knows it. It's kind of
Yes.
like an old,
For sure.
Yeah.
But do you know what I'm saying though? Like in the release 24 karat version of the thing, the beat picks up, like the drums pick up in a spot where in the 1981 or 82 version, that intro would have gone on for another couple of bars. Do you know what I'm saying?
Where the band kicks in.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tighter here.
Not to end what you're saying, Alicia, please go on. I'm just, that's
No,
what I'm
I
saying.
understand some of her demos. You're like, okay, it's a 7-minute thing. We can cut this down to 3.5 or 4.
Uh-oh. Don't tell Lindsay on the Destiny Rules document. All right, do we have any other thoughts on? Well,
Triggered. I was just triggered.
I do like If You Were My Love. I think this version's, Alicia, kind of like what you said, it kind of packages it nicely, but which at the cost of some of the wildness of the older versions. But I think I'm okay with what she did with it. She added a little bit more drum than the original acoustic version, and took out some of the ridiculousness of some of the other versions. And I feel like it's just a happy medium.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Which I'm okay with. But the next track, now, when when I saw I knew most of these songs as demos, and I was very anxious to see what was going to make the track list. When I saw Mabel Normand was on the album, like, oh, hell no. Really?
Yes.
Like, how's this terrible demo going to be on the album? And damned if it isn't like my favorite song on the album.
Yeah.
Like,
Yes.
like the best song, maybe the best song she's done in I don't know how long. It's basically is faithful to the original demo, so she didn't even really do that much, but it turned into the biggest pile of crap to the most magical thing ever.
Yeah.
So a little background: the original demo was recorded in the deepest depth of her drug addiction, and it sounds like it. Like if you go on YouTube, it's just a hot damn. Like she's playing 2 chords on the synthesizer. She's rambling on and on and on. There's no structure. Now in the final version, she rambles on and on and on, and there's no structure, but it's like the best thing ever. So
Yes.
and I really feel like whatever she felt when she recorded that original one, she channeled it on this recording. But for some reason, it works. So what do you all think of this song? Jim, go ahead.
Yes, this song reminds me of Bob Dylan's Hurricane, where he just goes out in prose and just goes off and just, rambles on through. And she carries that passion from the original. The original version, what I've heard, were just like poor copies. Just, you get very, there's just tapes that are all scratchy. Just really, it was pretty, it was a hot
like
mess.
a tape of a tape of a tape of a tape.
Yeah.
It was a hot mess. I mean, and there was a lot of jokes about it, and a lot of people just adored it, but she picked up the intensity and the sentiment of the song, and I'm glad it was a big gamble doing this, just to bring this in and put it. I mean, it's pretty unique in her catalog, this type of work, but I mean, she was doing a song about someone that had problems. I don't know, was it in the 20s or the 30s?
And she was sued by the estate of Mabel Normand.
Yeah. And she was comparing her life to her. She was knowing she was going to go, she's falling. And she wrote this to make herself feel better, or just to document that she's going through the same thing. And she put it, this was really good. And I wrote here that the band went with her vision. They played along with it and with her intensity, and they got it done. It's a good documentation of something that we didn't expect to flesh out like this.
So, like, say the year 2000. Can you ever imagine yourself saying this following sentence? Damn, Mabel Normand's one of Stevie Nicks' best songs. Like,
No.
I mean, don't you think people kind of looked at it as her worst demo? Like, a lot of people just looked at it as like the worst.
Yes. I like Jeremy said, I was surprised when I heard Mabel Normand was going to be on this record, because I thought it was a terrible, boring demo. And like Jim said, it was just, we all heard versions that were like, a tape of a tape of tape, like Nathan said too. So, I didn't get much of it, but this song's amazing. It sounds like a heartbreaker. It's very kind of sly, sexy kind of, guitar work, very like that kind of vibe. And when she's talking about Mabel Normand, I mean, she's really talking about herself, really.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Joe Walsh, apparently.
Joe Walsh, yep.
Yeah. So I thought, it just, the lyrics are crazy, they don't make much sense, but it's a great rambling song, and it's one of my favorites off this record.
I love Things Aren't the Same Since Rome Burned Down.
Yes, I love the part about running with the sun.
Yes, that's a good line.
Yeah, about
That.
nothing but waiting for messages, but all through the day's seasons, I went running with the sun, and I pray every day for the answers, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah, very nice.
Wow.
It's like texting. It's one of those weird things that she wrote in the 80s about waiting for messages. It feels just like you're on a dating app or something, waiting for someone to.
And her
I like
original,
how it ends.
Tell
Sad
you,
girl, sad girl.
very
I like how it ends off.
salient in a way that's socially. It's
So I
socially
love this track. It's
salient
one of
in
my
a way
favorites, and
today
I think she used this track at the end of the live CD when they showed the credits.
oh
So
yeah,
that's, I assume that was special to her too, to have that song there at least at the end, if not ever done in concert.
her original vocal
I
was
think it
very
did
like
really well. Yeah.
her original vocal was very like rock little like yeah.
Yeah.
But I like this song in her modern day vocals, like that kind of like lower raspy.
Yeah, it works.
She tore into this shit.
Yeah. So I'm glad she did the song after like 85, 30 odd years. Yeah.
Alicia and Nathan, what do y'all think of Mabel Normand?
I think this is one of the best songs off of the record. It's another rocker. That's what I like about this album. She's got a couple ballads, but the majority of it, I would say easily 2/3 is a good rock album, which she hasn't had I don't know if you could say she's really had a good rock album since maybe Rock a Little or something, but even that had more R&B, as we were talking about. It's just she's kind of been doing a lot more pop up until she did this. I would say In Your Dreams had one or two, but
I feel like Street Angel had like the Listen to the Rain, like a couple of the rockers on there.
yeah,
But overall, that wasn't a rock album either.
no. So I mean, that's what makes this, I think, overall a good album. She has that one or two slow ballad songs that everybody likes, well, 3, and then this is a good rock album. This song is a good rock. It's got the beat. It makes it sound like she's almost angry when I listen to it, but it almost seems like she's angry because she's here. She's already gone through all the problems and the pain that she's kind of like Roland was saying, this is really her talking to when she wrote it back in the 80s, mid 80s, when she was dealing with a lot of her drug problems. But to me, it seems like she's almost angry at herself for putting herself through that whole rigmarole that she had to go through for about a decade.
Yeah.
But my favorite line that always gets me is, she fought a losing battle one day at a time. She might even make it through tomorrow. And you go, I mean, I think she really knew she was out there.
I think all those Polaroids she took in the bathroom mirror with like her frizzy hair, like she put down the camera and went and wrote this song. Like they happened on the same night. Yeah, that right there.
Something like that, like that.
Yeah.
These wasted looking pictures. Yeah.
No, I don't care. Turn it off.
No, I'm doing.
That's a terrible shot here. That's a really terrible shot.
I found it more interesting to watch how she put the Polaroids and did all the backwards and forwards with mirrors and everything.
Yeah.
Put it down. Dad. Hey, what do you want?
I'm muting Jim for a minute. Nathan, what do you think of this one?
I thought it was great.
Oh, we lost Jim.
Absolutely terrific, and I don't agree or disagree. I certainly don't disagree with anything anybody else said. You guys are absolutely right. And I really like the last, not even you guys know I usually like the third act. I don't even like the last third of the song. I really like the last 20 seconds of the song, 20 or 30 seconds. And one of the things that I like about it is because I remember when this album was coming out. And so I was kind of hanging on every article that would be released and stuff.
Yeah.
And I think Stevie herself really prefers the last 25, 30 seconds of this song. The sad girl passage, as I call it.
Oh, yeah.
It's so great. It's so well done. I think this song is really just, if there are things you don't like about it that detract from it, and there are, which I will be quick to point out, except right now, because I'm in a mood. I think it's just great all the way around.
Yeah.
I think that Stevie Nicks, there's things that only Stevie Nicks
the
can
last
do.
30 seconds, the sad girl passage, as I call it, especially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like the Stevie magic is there for sure in that passage.
Mm-hmm.
We got like 2 killer Stevie Nicks albums in one decade when we thought there'd be no more. Like, All right. Well, any thoughts on Mabel Normand before we move on?
Where'd Jim go?
We lost him, but I bet he'll come back. All right, so next week,
Yeah, go on.
we have the third version of Twisted that we've been treated to. The first was, of course, on the Twister soundtrack with Lindsey Buckingham. And then on the Enchanted box set, she gave us the demo version.
Lindsey Buckingham, the master of
And then,
shit.
once again, she re-recorded it for this album, which I thought was a weird choice because there were still some demos out there that I think could have been on this album.
Yeah.
But I will say I did like this version of Twisted. I liked it. What do you all think?
I thought, why bother? The version on the Twister soundtrack was perfection to me. I love that song. It was a great comeback in 1996 for her, and it's an amazing song. Yep. This one, it sounds a lot like the demo on Enchanted, and it doesn't bring anything new to it. It's a loss of a spot to me, which should have been taken over by something else.
She does add one line, though, right?
What's the point? And it's like, to me, it's like it's almost like an F you to Lindsey. Like, I didn't like what you did to my song. I'm gonna record it my way, sounding like the demo. And the thing is, for me, the Twister version was like, again, perfection, and this one is just
the version
mediocre. So her F you to him, like, I don't like the song. I think she's not the best judgment of her own material sometimes.
I think this version was very slick compared to like the other ones. Here comes Jim. What she did add one line that's different in this one than any other version. Can anyone remember it? Because I can't.
Now you're gonna make me have to look at the lyrics.
No, in fact, I remember the lines that she added to the other ones. The I know you know that I know that you know that watching you go is like dying, right?
Oh, right.
There's that whole movement. Isn't that what there's that whole movement in the third act of the song that is missing from every other version. I know you know that watching you go is like dying, and everything that follows that. So I think that's what's missing from this song. I'm sorry to jump in.
Am I muted?
No, you're good.
And the version on Twister with the sun goes down, that part, that's amazing how it ends off and chasing down demons. I love how it ends on that version.
Shadows in the first sign. What about the intro? The shadows in the first sign of light. What is that whole little?
Oh, that was heart song.
Jim, do you
That's
remember?
the one from the record we're talking about last time. What was it?
Oh, My Heart.
Oh, my heart. Yeah.
Jim, do you remember what the different line was in this Twister? There's a different line that she wrote just for this version.
You talking to me?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's at the end there. She says, "I got your demons."
I think that's what it is. I got your demons. That wasn't the other one.
This is the best.
Was the most. Yep.
Wasn't that a Twister version?
No.
I think this is the best version. I think there's some kind of wisdom. The wisdom is showing, even though the original from the soundtrack is really good, and it kind of shown that there was possibility that the band may get back together. That's what that's told me. The original is say, well, Lindsey and Stevie are being creative again together without tearing each other apart.
My Little Demon.
Right.
Yeah. And I love it at the end. I got your demons. That's I think
that's what they say in Sweetwater, Tennessee. They grab their stuff and they say, I got your blah, blah, whatever you say. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
It's my favorite part of the thing, too. I forgot about that part, Jim, but that's my favorite part of the song, too.
Got your damn demons.
I got your demons. That's what they say.
You see that little line
that's
change?
How people talk. I mean, it's good writing because that's how people speak.
That line change did do it for me. I did like that little line. I do like the wisdom and experience that's in this version. I don't know. I did like it.
Yeah. Oh,
Roland.
I thought in the movie, this song was not used to its advantage. I heard that it was specially commissioned for the Twister movie. I mean, this song just encapsulates the movie about chasing storms and chasing down demons, like her personal demons for the main character,
right.
Laura Dern. And it was stuck somewhere in this, God knows what part. I think it was being played on the radio in the scene. It lasted like 5 seconds, 10 seconds. It was really lost. This song should have been like when they showed the credits at the end and they play more or less the whole song, because this song really is the movie. So what a waste.
Yeah.
Might be a movie too.
Hey, you right on that. What a waste. You right on that.
Uh-huh.
All right, Alicia.
I think, well, I'm going to say songwriting wise, I liked this song. I liked how, and I think this is very honest from Stevie. That first stanza always gets me, how you think you hear demons. I think we are the demons in this place where the images are born. I mean, it's interesting how she's talking about how she's admitting that we do create our own problems, and we do like to create, some of us like to go chase the wind and challenge God. To me, it may work with Twister, the movie, and I agree with Roland, but it also, I think, really says something about her life.
Yeah.
And Buckingham. I mean, I think it's somewhat of an autobiography of a mission of, and even the version I heard first was the one on a chant, which is what I like, because it's her and like a guitar, and it's almost like a
in a drum machine.
Or yeah, with probably a little drum machine.
Yeah,
machines. Just kidding.
But to me, it's a very much of a confessional song of everything that she goes through. And when you start listening to her material, you realize she's really tried a lot of different things, good, bad.
Can I ask a follow-up question to Alicia?
Let Alicia finish first.
I'm sorry. Okay.
But yeah, to me, I always like the Enchanted version, but that's the one I heard first. I think the one off of Twister is very, very good. Lindsay knows how to play to Stevie, and they just know how to mesh. If they don't, of course, they don't like each other, but they do know how to mesh. So that's a good version. This one, I'm happy we have it. It makes it sound like Stevie's maturing and kind of like an older version sitting down like with Landslide, but we could have gotten something else.
Yeah.
The fact that it was one of the bonus songs, so to speak, for the deluxe, it's kind of a disappointment in a regard. When you realize, gosh, my brain's going blank. We could have gone, what is it, Julia instead or something? So, yeah.
All
right, Nathan.
You want to get into Julia? Well, I guess I don't really have a comment as much as I have two follow-up questions for Alicia. And follow-up question number one would be, whose fiery sequential childhood do you think she's referencing in the song? Must be Lindsay's, right? That's the first question.
That's what I always thought.
It's a safe assumption.
A safe assumption. I always wondered if it was somebody that.
Well, that's reading on into that.
Well, that's a good. I always thought it was maybe your Joan Walsh's. It seems like Lindsay had a fairly good childhood, so I don't think him per se.
He was under a lot of pressure.
So.
There was Lindsay's brother won a silver in the Olympics. You guys ever heard of that story?
Yeah. He passed away too.
Yeah, that's fairly recent.
Early on, so to speak.
Yeah, but Lindsay was on. His dad wanted him to follow in with his brother and be a good swimmer, and Lindsay quit on his coach, and his coach said, "You're going to be nothing," and that was his motivation. So I think Lindsay was a lot of pressure in his life to be, something. And, but he did what he loved. And I think Stevie liked him for that. Lindsay probably bared his soul to her about, family issues and being in a pressure cooker of performance. And,
Yes.
Fiery sequences. Okay.
Roland.
Yeah.
Yes, I just looked up Twister, the movie, to remind me of it because I haven't seen it in a long time. Not Laura Dern, Helen Hunt. Anyways, in 1969, she and her family take shelter because of a storm. Her father is killed. So I think the lyrics are, it's really the movie. In this case, it was the movie because she was shown the script apparently. So she wrote the story according to script. And I mean, of course, her own life is in it, but I think this song is very based on what was written in the script. The part about the childhood with the father being killed by the tornado.
Nathan.
How many people have watched that movie?
I've seen it in years, but you know,
I've not.
Wikipedia, the magic of Wikipedia.
But I want to watch it. I want to see. I want to understand. To see if I can then really understand how people in high stress jobs can maintain relationships or whatever bullshit. She was.
Yeah, that's in it too, because she and that guy are chasing storms. So it's very movie oriented.
Alicia.
Well, I was going to say, when I think confessional, I think there is, for Stevie to create a song, she has to pull something out of herself.
Right.
So I do think that some of the song, you kind of feel like the essence of Stevie is there, even though, yes, this song is very much about the movie Twister. It fits perfectly for the movie. But this is quite a good song, and it's I just like it. It's different from what she usually does because it's almost like she's admitting and taking some ownership. She's not kind of pointing fingers, or at least I don't hear it when I listen to it.
Did she do this on the 24 Karat tour? I can't remember off the top of my head.
I don't think she did.
No, sir. She did not.
No. She did it for the Enchanted and the pre-tour for Enchanted.
Okay.
Oh, that's right. She did do it live.
All right. Well, do we have any other thoughts on Twisted before we move on?
No.
All right. Well, next is a song that I always thought the demo was kind of boring and never caught my ear. But then the first time I heard, because she released like 3 singles from this before the album came out. And the first time I heard this, I was blown away because it really had that like witchy kind of Stevie Nicks magic that shit. I don't know if we've heard that since Wild Heart, to be honest with you. The song's 24 Karat Gold. I think what they did on this album version is just like classic Stevie Nicks. I love that they kind of added more of a hook on the chorus. I don't know. What do you all think of this one?
Dang the chain.
Don't play music. I'll get a copyright flag on YouTube. All right, what do y'all think about 24 Karat Gold?
I like it. At first, I thought the really heavy bass was very disconcerting, like marching elephants or something like that. But I like the song. I like it when then after the bass part, when it kicks off with the jump part and the guitar part, that's cool. I like the song.
Chain and chain. That's what gets me stuck in my head after listening to it.
I like the line about how she laid in the rain face down.
Oh, face down. Yeah. What kind of freedom, what kind of game?
Didn't she say the song was about Mick Fleetwood? Not that it matters.
At least a watch chain when I know that. He has a watch chain.
Didn't you all feel like this was kind of a witchy Stevie song though? Like
it's a witchy. It's a witchy yes. I think it's a witchy yes.
Very witchy.
Like Nightbird, Rhiannon.
Yeah.
Dude, it's extra witchy. That's how I call it. Extra witchy. Yes.
What do you think of this one, Nathan?
Don't you think, Jim? I thought it was extra witchy. That's my opinion.
It's very atmospheric and it's very Fleetwood Mac. That's what I wrote down. I love that bass line is like a John McVie bass line.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's the demo was done in '79, so it was in that era, the Tusk era. So it was something that was kicked back. Good song. And I love the vocals with Lauren Sharon, the Chain of Chains part. That's just beautiful. The keyboard parts, and it's definitely a Stevie Fleetwood Mac feel to it.
I didn't think she still had it in her. Like she's still, you know, releasing
Can I
big
ask
music.
a question,
Yeah.
JG? What does she mean when she says there are dreams to be sold? There are
Yeah.
dreams to be sold. What
That
does
can
that
be
mean?
applied to a lot of stuff.
Does that mean she's just a commodity? Is she feeling put upon by the business aspect?
Yeah.
Is that what that means, Roland? That's
Could
what
be
I'm asking.
Stocks and bonds. Stocks and bonds.
This is Roland stocks and bonds.
Well, I think if it goes back to dreams, like have you any dreams you like to sell kind of, you know, take on
Yeah.
that, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. But good song. Good song.
I remember I had a little bit of a tumultuous affair around the time this came out, and it was my go-to song as I processed through that experience. I won't name any
Mine
names.
for a minute too. This is my go-to song for a minute too.
I like this one so much. I know I shouldn't admit this, but I did a rip off the YouTube video and then made an MP3 for my car.
Nasty.
But you know, I gave Stevie my money with like the 4 different versions of the album I bought.
Mm.
All right. Any other thoughts on 24 Karat Gold, the song? I'm surprised she never did it. She didn't do it in the tour or anything. This was the title track.
No, she did not do it in tour. No.
There's quite a few songs off of this record I wish she did. Maybe she'll pull it back out for 2022 or 2023.
You think the title track would have gotten some more, you know, exposure?
You would think.
How do you think the song would have been live? Do you think it would have worked
Oh, yeah.
I think so. I mean,
with a
the
shawl?
girl-
A shawl and
I think having been to the concert, the song that, you know, when people go to the bathroom and go beer for beer, that would have been If You Were My Love. I noticed that.
yeah.
Okay.
It's a new, slower song, so people, I don't know this song, you know, bathroom. So you think of it that way, you know, when people have been receptive to a new song, and usually they're not, if it's not like bang, 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 like Starshine, kind of bang, 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 bang.
All right. Any other thoughts on the 24 Karat Gold before we move on? The thing I love about this track list is it's one great song after another. And
It is. I just want to throw out the idea that this title track, this is the title track we're talking about, track
Yeah.
number 4.
Yes.
I think it hangs with the Wild Heart or the Belladonna or what was the one off of Alice? The
Oh,
other side,
Side of the Mirror.
that
Other Side of the Mirror was
the other
Alice.
side of the Alice Mirror.
Alice.
I think it hangs with any of her title tracks. It's up there, don't you think?
yeah, absolutely.
No.
It's not an epic
That's
like
what
the
I
other
have.
ones, but I think it's just as good.
No, I think so. Yeah.
All right, so Belle Fleur, is that how you say it? Is the next song.
Belle Fleur, yeah.
I always love the demo, and I actually love what she did on the album version. She just kind of added like a band section, but you know, the song was great on the tour. What did you all think of this song?
I love the intro.
Bass at the beginning. It always rocks my car.
I love the
didn't
intro part.
I didn't expect that intro at first. I'm like, where is this going? Because you know that didn't sound like the demo at all, but it definitely works. I think her voice sounds great.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
This is
For me, it also kind of reminds me of Joni Mitchell's.
Ladies of the Canyon.
Yes. Okay, I'm not the only one that. Just some of the lyrics and
Yeah. Yeah.
how
yeah.
she talks about women.
Yeah, absolutely. The limo. She's talking about the limo.
Yes.
This is not.
Limo reference is a little bit in poor taste, in my opinion. But
And what else is in that drink?
This album is so good that
sweet Tennessee Sweetwater, buddy. That's all. Just Tennessee Sweetwater and good feelings and just magical stuff. That's all.
I just thought when she was on tour talking about the backstory to this, I mean, you know, I would not have connected this song to the, you know, I'm famous, I have a limousine, I gotta go. No, I don't connect that at all.
right.
So, you know, I didn't get the connection.
I wonder if there's more to what really made this song. Because I think the limo part probably plays maybe the chorus,
Right.
but where who are these women? What is
Mountain Woman.
Yeah.
When was this written?
Well, I'm sure that was her and the girls and her home girls, whatever combination of girls those were.
Yeah.
Wasn't this written during like Rumors
Yeah.
time?
This
Lisa.
19 was the demo.
What
I
year,
forgot
Jim?
we're on tape here.
1980.
1980. Okay, so it was from Belladonna era.
Well, it's the Tusk to Belladonna era.
Okay.
And there's a lot of division in the band. You know, they're pretty much broken up per se. Stevie had her entourage, and her responsibility was that black car bringing her up to take to Fleetwood Mac again
Right.
and deal with Lindsay with no iced tea.
Well, this would have been an interesting song here off of Belladonna, I guess, with the Belle Fleur. It
Yeah.
plays with. It would have been interesting to see how she would have done it in kind of that. To me, has that darker
Been on
tone.
Mirage.
Yeah, or Mirage. Belladonna to me has like a darker timbre or sound overall throughout the album.
And I think this song is as good as anything on Belladonna, in my opinion.
I think it is, and it would have been interesting to see how it would have played. Quite a few of these they demoed for Belladonna, so to me this is almost like
They're nearly finished.
yes, almost like a Belladonna 2, sort of, because quite a few of these were demoed for it.
Mhm.
It's kind of interesting.
And I do like her modern voice on this song too. I think it works.
Yeah, it works.
Yes.
It works. Yeah.
It does work.
All right. Well, we're moving on to a song. Oh yeah. Go ahead.
I'll
Jim.
go quick. I love that really groovy intro. It could have played another couple minutes. It just kept the band must have it must have been a delight. I don't know if Waddy was I don't know who's even playing on this. I don't know. The core group was just grooving,
Yeah.
doing like a 70s jam, and
Yeah.
then, they were taking turns being prominent in the the arrangement, and it's just that alone is so awesome. It's it's a very very trippy, and I was on the ledge, describing this song, and no one's heard it before. And I think I remarked, I said, if you got them, you better smoke them, because this was really a trippy song. It's got great story imagery. It's almost like it's a movie in your head when that black car comes up. Stevie's going in her world to the other world, in the world she would probably rather not be, but it's her obligation to go to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it's
one.
very solid. This is one of her better songs in her career. Okay, next.
Any other thoughts on Belle Fleur before we move on?
I would agree with what Jim said, and I think it's an interesting point of view to consider one world to the next, and that's one of the things that in her songs seems to be a constant theme.
Right.
A meme throughout her work would be that different worlds, whatever. But
which brings us to the next song, right?
It's a little bit of a but is no one going to talk about the banjo? There's a banjo in that song.
There is?
And that's one of the things that I think is really neat. And somebody on the ledge said 6 or 7 years ago when that album first came out, someone on the ledge made the comment, and I couldn't agree with it more, that who in the world ever thought there was going to be a banjo on Belle Fleur? A banjo!
And it works too. Actually, now that you bring it up, like it's great.
Great.
Mhm.
It's terrific.
Cool. Well, speaking of different worlds, we're moving on to All the Beautiful Worlds, which was an outtake of Wild Heart.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm in the minority that I never liked that demo.
Segue.
It always felt like an unfinished demo to me, and I love this version better than the demo. I feel like almost all the songs here so far, I prefer the where they landed on this album. There's just something about this version that felt like it was the right time and place for the song. And Stevie hit some really high notes at the end that were very Wild Heart era.
Mhm.
And I love the, Lori and Sharon singing. I just think this is a great version of the song. It's kind of has that 80s synth thing going on. So what do you think of All the Beautiful Worlds?
I can do it.
I love it. I think it's the best song on the record. It's very close to the demo. I listened to the demo on the Wild Heart deluxe package. It's other than the vocal, it's not that much different, and it's a beautiful song. It could have been on, let's say, if she didn't do Beauty and the Beast on Wild Heart, this could have been the ending song.
Yeah.
So I think this is my favorite song off this wonderful CD.
Really?
Yeah.
All right. Other thoughts on All the Beautiful World? Jim?
It's a very, very much a belladonna song. I mean, the demo was done in '82, which is of that time. It was probably just didn't make the cut. It was probably just about ready to go on, and it just didn't make it. Really, and the vocals on this is like the girls and Stevie haven't lost a thing from just really good. And I love the line, "Don't give that to her, give that to me." It's about, passion and love and wanting someone back. It's over with, but you still want to get back with someone.
Jim, I always felt like this was more of a Wild Heart than a belladonna, just because of the synthesizers.
Yeah. It's Wild Heart and the belladonna are probably her closest together album in a lot of ways. So I consider that, yes. And I love that line, "I see through that smile."
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And this would also work as a Fleetwood Mac song, and it would work pretty good live with him. Oh my, there's so much of her material that would be great live with Fleetwood Mac. But I mean, there's other people in that band would want to see that out there live.
What about Christina and Lindsay doing the echo vocals instead of the girls?
That would have been interesting.
Sure.
I mean, to me, the singer is saying, "I know what you're doing. I want this to work out instead of you running to girl B over there."
Right.
So that would have been interesting to have to hear Lindsay having to back that up. I personally like the demo.
Really?
I do. I like the 80s version. To me, she just has that kind of, I guess she's just a little bit closer to the event that made the song. And so she's just kind of got that. She almost has that, I guess she was breaking up with somebody or something, because it's almost like, I know. However, it's pretty good on this album. It's not a bad, but that's just my personal take. I like the older version.
It's not an embarrassment, right?
It's not an embarrassment. It's like she's held the line with this, but it's a great song. I love the harmonies that her and the girls do.
Oh, that's just great stuff.
All right, any thoughts on All the Beautiful Worlds before we move on?
I love that line, "Leaving your touch on the edge of my heart." That's a very nice line. Very nice sentiment.
Was anyone else surprised by those high notes she hits on the fade out? Like, those are some really high notes that you don't really hear those on a Stevie album past Wild Heart.
About her high notes, I mean, she could, when she's in a controlled environment like a studio, she does that. But then when she goes on a tour, she shouts a lot, and it's very monotone, like when she does Moonlight, which is a beautiful version on the CD. But when she does it live, it's back to her kind of normal, nowadays shouty, flat voice. It's unfortunate.
There was one song where she hit a really high note live. I don't know if it was Gold Dust Woman.
Italian Summer?
No, it was on a more recent tour, and I just can't remember. Maybe it was Gold Dust Woman during like the call it when she does like the dancing thing,
the crazy dance.
What'd she call it?
Crackhead.
The crackhead dance.
Yeah,
there's some great performances.
The crackhead dance.
She reinvents songs.
Yeah,
she's got two great types of Moonlight live versions.
Yep.
That slow that she's done recently, because she's getting older. She can't, put a lot, but she makes it of her age, which
Yeah.
is great.
Which was another one of Lindsey Buckingham's rips on her in the recent interview. That what did he say? She doesn't have
She has
the
no energy. No
she
energy.
has no
on
energy
stage.
on stage, which
Yeah.
is amazing. He's like, she probably saw me acting not age appropriate and was jealous.
Okay, well, let's be
Like when he does that gorilla thing, when he does Tusk, that kind of gorilla dance of his.
I don't know. I feel like the crackhead dance is pretty fierce.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what's talking about having no energy, and she does that, you know, that hair thing, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So the next song was the first single from the album, I believe.
That was the first single.
I think it was the first
Yeah,
song,
video.
or maybe Dealer was. But the next song, Stevie Nicks said in an interview that she recorded it, put it in a box, and was never going to bring it out again. But then she did for this album. And wasn't the original demo known as Knocking on Doors?
Or what people called it.
That's what people called it.
Yeah,
It was
or like, you know,
actually
like
called
That's
Lady.
All Right was called Designs of Love. I mean, who knows?
Right.
Yeah.
So the
Or
song
or Garbo. No. Whatever. Anyways, yeah.
it was
Sorry, go
released as Lady, and it's a rare moment of just Stevie and the piano. It's very much like a torch ballad, kind of like when she was doing At Last. And it's not the easiest song to listen to because it's I don't know.
It's go first.
It's boring.
It's goaty and boring at first.
It's boring.
But I do think she gave she did a live like on Jay Leno or something, right?
Yeah, some show like that.
So
you guys find this song boring? Did anybody here like this song?
Jay was well, maybe no, this has got a lot of passion in it.
Yeah, I do feel like she gave a really passionate performance.
It's
Rolling.
a little the reason the front end, it's like a joke. It's you tell part of the joke, and that ending is terrific, and it's the punchline. I mean, as a total thing, but if you're listening at first, man, pick it up a little, girl.
Yeah.
You know, and as a total product, it's really good. It was funny. I popped on the ledge, and there was a thread about a song called "Lady." I never heard this demo before. I never heard it in demo form. This final version was the one I've heard first.
Okay.
So it was a surprise, and it was one of those rare moments on the ledge where people are just taken aback by something she's done. I mean, there was just some kind of quiet hush.
Really?
We're very words. They said wow, a lot of wows and stuff. Like a good 6 people on there going back and forth. Like, man, this is terrific. There was just, and I probably could pin it down and find it, because it's still there on the ledge on the transcripts. So it was one of those rare things where people were that were on that thread were just taken aback, and I was taken aback. I think I was reading the thread first before I listened to the song, and people were just like taken aback by this and then I heard it and I said, well, I know why. This is just amazing.
Yeah.
As a total thing. A non-fan would be very hard to get through that first third. Oh, and this was a demo. The demo was from 71. That a lot of material came out of that.
Yeah.
Period. That era.
Sorcerer.
Just the Rihanna, the landslides, the whole bit. Like a whole career for a tremendous or a great singer. It was right there, before Fleetwood Mac. They're just great material that she wrote, and here's one of them. And it's about, and they're like, you can tell by the words. This is like, I mean, I'm about ready to give up. And it's like it's written in character where the man's trying to encourage her to go on.
Right.
He said, or I don't know. It's where, lady, you just have to see. You're just gonna have to stick this out. That's what this is. It's about just trying to fight through it, and and look what happened.
Remember at the time I had just started a job at the casino working overnights, and I was always playing this as the sun was coming up driving home. So that's my memory of this song and this album. Yeah, it's definitely a powerhouse performance. Jim, did you have anything else? I'm sorry I jumped in.
No, I'm done. I mean,
Okay, Roland.
Like Jim says, I think this song starts off in a very interesting way, but it needs editing. It's too long. It's too repetitive. The lyrics are just, they repeat. The whole chunks of lyrics repeat. She's saying the same thing. So perhaps if she mixed up, if she added more different words, it might have made it more interesting to me. But I think it's long, and I skip it because I would fall asleep if I went through the whole 4 or 5 minutes of the song.
Yeah, maybe we didn't need the
6 minutes because it sounds long.
We didn't need the double chorus at the end. Alicia.
I somewhat agree with Roland. To me, this is the worst song off of the album.
Really?
But for me, well, besides Cat How Blues, I'll rephrase that. But it's because it's very repetitive. But
the point gets
I
across.
understand to a certain degree. If you look back at the songs that were written and popular from the 30s, 40s, 50s, like the American Songbook songs,
right?
Jazz, they do the same setup like this. They have 2 or 3 stanzas. They say it and sing it one way, and then they have a bridge musical interlude, and then they come back and repeat those same 2 or 3 stanzas. But this time that they repeat it the second time, they have a different, they kind of, let's dance under the moonlight. Well, the next time, well, let's dance under the moonlight. There's a different, they say it maybe a little bit differently.
They add an instrument or something.
Yes, there's a more nuanced way of them saying it. So it makes you have to plug back in and listen to it. Whereas this,
yes,
Stevie's saying the same notes.
She copy and pasted it twice, basically.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. And so you almost sit there afterwards and go, we only needed half the song at that point.
Yeah.
Or she needed to start the first one lower and then do the second one higher.
Oh, that would have been a We Belong Together.
I don't know. I mean, at some point you have to do something different.
Yeah.
Musically.
To keep the attention.
To keep the audience interested. It's a fantastic song. I think lyrically and musically it's done well, and her delivery is good. It's just somebody should have said something to her. You're going for this, then this is what makes those songs work. More enunciation.
She would have said, no one told Bob Dylan that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's what makes Sinatra great. So
Nathan, what do you think of Lady?
Ooh, I think it was a lost opportunity to hang Lady and Landslide and Beauty. I mean, it could have hung with all of her greatest slow songs, but to Alicia's point, I think it was somebody lost something on the approach.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Jim.
Stevie's made it like her career of repeating lyrics and emphasizing a tone, a stronger tone at the end. That's what she kind of grabs me with. It's a little different than about anybody. And here, she doesn't really do that. She just sings it louder and everything. But I think she did this intentionally. It wasn't because she's fully capable. And there's songs where she will sing softly and then hard and then soft again and then hard again. It's, this, she's fully capable of doing what we expect. But this is the way she wanted to do it.
Yeah, because sometimes Stevie repeats and it doesn't bother me. Like, she could have ran through the grass and over the stones for about 3 more minutes, and I would have been fine with that.
But that's a good song.
But I definitely didn't need the double chorus of Lady.
It sounds like it's 10 minutes long to me, so I skip it all the time.
All right, well, any other thoughts on this one before we move into another song that we probably all skip?
Yes, I skip that too.
I think the video is pretty good.
Oh, yeah, the video's nice.
Oh, the empty theater. The empty theater.
Nice dress in that video.
They're-
Thank you. playing that gem.
I forgot about the video.
Looked better in that video. I wonder what theater that was shot in. Do you ever remember? That was
I don't
shot in
remember.
some local theater in the Midwest, I think.
So the next song, I think Stevie only had like a little like short demo of something she wrote with Michael Campbell back in the 80s. And then she expanded it into a full song that on her Instagram post, she said, I only sing that once and I'll never be able to sing it that way again. And in this case, maybe that's not a bad thing because I don't think I need any more I don't care than she gave us here. To me, this is the worst song on the album. I think the lyrics are terrible.
Yeah, it's a little clunky.
They're lazy. They're lazy lyrics.
Okay.
She's trying to rock it out. And
You think this is the worst song on the album?
Yes.
I got 3 or 4 more to suggest. Have you
Like, I don't care, and then I do care. I mean, do you care or you don't care? I mean, you know, your mind. And that ooh baby, you know, she wants to be Robert Plant. That's what she wants to be here.
yes, but I don't think Robert Plant would touch this song.
It's a lazy song. It's a throwaway song. You know, like let's jam and make up a song in 5 minutes, like Sister Honey.
I like Sister Honey better than this. Does anybody here like I Don't Care? Nathan, you okay? Go ahead.
I really like it. I think it's really cool. And maybe it's not the most original thing, and maybe it's a little derivative of Robert Plant. So I'm just trying to throw out. That's what I think. I think it's a cool song.
Alicia.
I know for me, the first couple times I heard this, because she does I don't care, and then she does the thing fades in and says, I do care. You know, to me, that was like a really good twist the first time. It's such a good play on words, which is what Stevie's really good at with like beautiful, like she did for Beauty and the Beast. But I can see where somebody would say this is repetitive. This isn't.
I can too.
I mean, I can see where somebody would go, this is a filler song. And I can agree.
I definitely feel like it's a throwaway compared to like.
Yes.
What about Shattered, Broken in the Mirror? Shattered, Broken, Lost in Sight. What about that whole little phrase that she has about, I think there's a lot of good things in this song that you guys are overlooking.
Okay.
That one line out of 30 or 40-ish lines. Like, ooh baby, not this time. Ooh baby, love is blind, not this time. Ooh baby. I think it might be a fun song live because, you know, when you're there, you get the energy and stuff. You know, you love whatever she's singing. But when you're at home listening to this, I could skip it on my CD with a press of a button.
If she does this live, I'm headed right towards the concession stand. Ooh baby, I need a hot dog.
Because you don't care.
I don't care. I need some Skittles.
You don't care about the diamond rings and everything else?
Ooh baby.
The diamond rings. Very good.
Jim.
It's a bit a rock by number song. It's kind of, you plug this here and you plug that
yes,
there.
That's it. That's yes.
And it's not terrible. It's Mike Campbell's on this, and he's added a lot to it. If it was done like 72, it would have been revolutionary. But this is kind of every band's got a song or two like this with the same kind of musical pace, and I mean, you know, it's at the first part, it's a bit angry, like Fall from Grace. It has that kind of a vocal.
Right.
I mean, trying to rock out. It was placed here to just pick up the tempo of the album. It's a little bit kind of trite and contrived. You know, when Stevie's on and it's on, I don't know. Did she write this with Mike? It probably did.
Yeah.
You're just sitting down and they were throwing out lyrics. Hey, let's just do this real, you know, let's just write something and go. And they probably just went half a day, kind of got it put together, the skeletal part, and then they presented it to the people in the studio and they went with it. It's nothing terrible about it. It's kind of rock by the numbers. It's you know, it's nothing special. you know, if it was back in the day, it would have been, you know, who this wild chick singing like this. And, you know, you look at it in a historical sense, if it was placed in a different time, it'd probably been quite a remarkable piece, but it's kind of, you know, a dated concept.
So if you had to choose between Stevie's later era rockers, would you pick I Don't Care or Ghosts Are Gone? If you had to pick.
Both are terrible. Both are terrible.
You got to pick one.
I'd probably go with Ghosts Are Gone. I like that over I Don't Care.
I hate to say it, but I don't care.
Oh.
Yeah, I think Ghosts Are Gone is terrible. It's noise. It's noise. It's noise.
So,
well, it doesn't care what anybody thinks, God, or how you feel, even.
So, Nathan, your team, I Don't Care?
If I had to choose, I would take Ghosts Are Gone. I think it's a great song.
Ghosts Are Gone. What about you, Jim?
Ghosts. It sounds more like fresh and spontaneous and just have a little fun.
Yeah, I guess
Roland doesn't care about anything, though.
I'm going with Ghosts Are Gone also. Well, I think she was trying to do like one of her spontaneous, like I'm really going off at the end of the song, but it just kind of landed like a dull thud to me.
Yeah.
Nathan, I'm dying to hear one of these things we're missing here. Enlighten
Roland, I'm just so stunned that Roland doesn't care about anything, man. Like, just having so much fun because Roland didn't care about anything with this photo book.
No.
Having fun.
Hey, look, it's Courtney Love.
Oh my God, it is.
That's repulsive. You're right. It is Courtney Love. That's correct.
All right. Any thoughts on I Don't Care before we move on to a better song?
Please go next.
Okay. Next was a song that was only on the deluxe edition. As a demo, we all knew it as Watch Devil, but the actual name of the song is Watch Chain, and apparently it's also about Mick Fleetwood.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't really add too much about the song. I think it's fine. I don't know. Any thoughts on Watch Chain?
I like this song because it brings back memories of hearing this as a demo way back then on little cassette tapes when no one else had it back then. And, you know, I know this song that you don't know as Watch Devil.
Weren't some of the lyrics from this in the Enchanted booklet?
Not necessarily competitive.
I feel like the verse about
Beware of the danger.
Yes.
That's pretty terrific.
Yep.
What about kitchen lace? What is the kitchen lace? And how many paychecks would you give to have the actual kitchen lace that she wrote about? Because you know that was in some weird 60s, 70s little...
Yep. You take
it.
She had the blue lamp on top of the kitchen lace.
I'll put $200 on that. Roland?
Yes.
You wanted to give me $250? Okay, I'm done.
300.
All right, Jim or Alicia, any thoughts on Watch Chain?
I really like this song. I think it's a very profound. It's profound to me because she's talking about time marching and how, and she wrote this so many years ago.
Yeah.
It's kind of another one of those like landslide or both sides now. She realizes time's passing. If you don't enjoy it or do something with it, things are going to disappear. And the keeper of the time is blind, I think is the best line.
Yeah.
Of this, but I think that's her way of talking. I think it's a good song.
It's definitely a rocker, and it has a different feel than anything else she's really done, I feel like. And I'm going to add to your songs about time, Joni's Circle Game also.
Okay. Yes.
Is this from 1976-ish when she had her affair with Mick? This is about him. It sounds very intimate.
It's the demo's from 78. But
you guys read
probably yes.
Jim, would you rather have the kitchen lace or would you rather have the actual watch chain that Mick must have been wearing on his little sassy vest? Which you can only have one.
watch. I gotta have the whole thing. I gotta have the watch too.
You want the
Well, there was some
watch chain that Nick
cocaine.
was
There was some
wearing?
cocaine hidden in that watch somewhere.
Oh, that sounds illegal. That sounds illegal.
Well, that probably connected him to that watch there as he's marching through time.
Yeah. Oh God, Jim.
Yes, if this was put out and it was, this could have been a minor single in the 70s. It could have been radio worthy.
Yeah.
You know, it's got some interesting lyrics. It's like, be careful, you go across the great blue water and don't, you know, beware of someone that don't look you straight in the eye. I mean, that's a lot of wisdom there for someone, you know. She's probably gone through a lot of people that's not looking right at you and they're lying to you. You know, it's an interesting group of lyrics. But
And isn't that the verse that's in the Enchanted book?
a lot of Stevie songs, they just fit together, like they'll just puzzle each other.
Yeah.
And there's songs that'll just add to that puzzle.
Mm-hmm.
It's about Mr. Fleetwood. I know that.
Oh.
All right. Any other thoughts on Watch Chain before we move on? Nathan.
Just occurs to me that it's the watch chain. It's the chain. Is it the chain in a different kind of? It's
Oh.
the chain in a different uniform, right?
There's some two chains on this album. Chain of Chains, Watch Chain, The Chain.
Chain.
Well, with that being said, Watch Devil, the devil makes me think, go back to Twisted. Almost
Yeah.
The devil is going to collect whatever you do wrong, or God's going to, one way or the other. You're going to have to.
And isn't it so interesting that for a bunch of songs that were written over many different years, these songs kind of hang together more than a lot of Stevie's other solo albums that were all written closer to the same time.
Yeah.
Like these are definitely a set of songs that belong together, I feel like.
Well, these songs seem to be more bass heavy compared to a lot of her other stuff. And I had a friend who bought the album when they went with me to the concert. And then they said they listened to this album and they didn't like it because it didn't sound like a lot of what they knew Stevie for. Granted, they're not somebody who has every album and every B-side and so on and so forth. But it makes me think like this is an album that, can I say, it has like the Battle of the Dragons sort of, her kind of more original stuff versus maybe her more dreams, more poppy, mainstream sort of stuff. That makes
Right.
sense.
And a lot of those albums had like, she'd bring in the songs from the other songwriters, and she's not doing that here, except for the one, but even that one's coming from a different place.
Yeah.
She's not trying to get a hit single.
Yes, and I think that somewhat frames this album a little bit differently. I think that's what makes this album fun for us fans, because to me it's Stevie, if that makes any
Yep,
sense.
100% Stevie.
Yeah. No covers.
So, which is really cool. I mean, In Your Dreams, I think, was the first one in, what, 20 years?
Yeah. All right. Any final thoughts on this song before we move on? Well, the legend is that Stevie Nicks went out to dinner with the late Tom Petty and asked him, because she just could not write a hit song, she wanted Tom Petty to write a hit for her. And he said, damn it, Stevie, you're a songwriter. You need to go home and you need to write your own songs. And from that fated conversation came the Trouble in Shangri-La album and probably everything after. But more specifically, we got 2 songs out of it.
Yeah.
And one of them hid in the vaults for many, many years. And instead, she chose to release the crappier of the 2 songs. On Trouble in Shangri-La was a song called That Made Me Stronger, which I think is not one of my favorite Stevie Nicks songs. And then fast forward to 2014, and we hear this other take on the conversation called Hard Advice. And this song is just one of my favorite songs. I think this is classic Stevie Nicks.
Yeah.
I think
That's one of your favorites, Stevie.
Don't buy that doll.
Yeah, I've heard you say it.
the coda at the end is so powerful. I just think this is Stevie at her best, and I can't believe she had this hidden in her gothic trunk, because I just think Waddy, this is definitely Waddy on the song. Like, you can definitely hear his signature sound. I find the song very moving. I'll admit that I've cried listening to it a couple times just because I could relate it to my own failed relationships. But what do y'all think of Hard Advice?
Definitely
Alicia.
better than That Made Me Stronger. To me, this song, she really does paint a picture. While I'm listening to this, I can feel like she's going into the CD shop, looking through CDs and say, stop doing that, put them down and go back home and get behind the piano and create a song. I mean,
Yeah.
it really does kind of paint that. And she frames the hard advice as, she frames it as positive, like somebody trying to pull her up. And
Right.
whereas the other song was, I don't know, it almost was like repetitive. You could have made it a two minute song and picked us all.
Who do you think the cardboard cutout she saw at the record store was? What?
Tom Petty.
I just like this. It's classic storytelling, Stevie.
It's so good. I wish you would have done this on the tour.
I love the guitar part, the way it starts off the song, and then that part right before you have to get over this, the pain's going on too long, the guitar right before that, that's great. And even she sings sometimes that part's so beautifully, I think.
Yeah.
Just those two words.
I just consider this classic.
Yeah, it's like Alicia said, it's a great improvement, and like Jeremy said, over the Trouble in Shangri-La other bookend of this. I think the doll's either Tom Petty or Joe Walsh, but I can't imagine Joe Walsh being popular enough to be a stand-up in a record store.
Could it be Mike Campbell? Was he big enough?
Not by himself. Tom Petty maybe, but I can't imagine Mike Campbell as a paper doll. Or it's figurative, it's imaginative.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting. She also says, and my other best friend. So we know Tom Petty is, makes you wonder what the other best friend.
Right.
Oh, I didn't notice that. Sometimes he's my best friend as person one. Then person two is another famous friend.
Right.
Bob Dylan, maybe.
Sometimes her famous friends, I find it off-putting, but in this case of the song, I don't.
Yeah.
I can hang with this one and still personalize it. Jim and Nathan.
Maybe it's the same person in Two Kinds of Love.
Yeah.
But she has so many friends.
What do y'all think of this one, Jim and Nathan? Jim.
Okay. It's a very good storytelling type song. A lot of interesting changes of pace. Just, when you look at it structurally, there's bits here and bits there, and there's riffs here, and it's kind of like, but it works. Mm-hmm. It works together. I think this would be very hard to do live for non-fans. They would say, "What?" It'd be like, it's kind of, what's this? And there's no like your typical chorus,
right?
And solo chorus. It's on a personal note, this kind of opened that little door I told you guys earlier about. I was going to a record store. Well, the way she says record store, it kind of dawned on me. It might have opened that little old memory of mine where I went to the record store and saw the Buckingham Nicks album and kind of freaked out and went to the front of the store and waited everybody to get their records. So this song may have opened an old memory for me. I was just kind of reflecting back on my life, and I decided to do that. And that lyric, or "Don't Buy That Doll," that kind of says, well, for her, this is like, don't buy that doll. I think this is like, don't go into indulgences. This is your career. You're a singer, songwriter. you can easily get trapped into just having fun with your life and just be a has-been. And I think this was a point where she said, well, I better pick it up because, you know, this is what I set out to do. She could have lived off her wealth and been like disappeared. Great slick fashion.
Yeah.
And not down in grace, but I mean, that's the choice she made. You know, but this is kind of interesting personally for me, just a little tidbit there. And what this was kind of that career, the redirect.
I always interpreted the "don't buy that doll" as don't succumb to sentimentality. Is that the word?
Yeah, just a lot. There's so much can be applied to that. Good metaphor. Just
a lot to unpack with that one.
Well, to me, it's the doll can also represent. I think she just didn't want to have to put in all the effort that it takes to make her music anymore. And that's kind of the stop listening to this and letting it get into your head and kind of the addictions and things like that. It could have been another addiction of just picking up other people's material.
Yes, Queen.
And focus again on your craft, on your work.
See, I always also interpreted the line as like, you know, she saw a big doll of someone that broke her heart in the past. And I know for me, if I see something that reminds me of someone, I want to buy that and take it home and remember it. And sometimes you just got to walk away from those attachments and memories to these unhealthy things. You know, don't buy the damn doll. Don't buy the CD with the song that reminds you of this person that hurt you.
Don't buy that doll.
Don't buy that.
You have to let him go. You know, that's what she says herself. You have to let him go.
So did she?
Huh? You know, yeah, you have to let him go. He gives such hard advice. The person's telling him, "Hurt, you have to let him go."
Yeah.
Go goodbye, Joe Walsh or whoever you're.
I like. I just want to move. What about the idea that he gives such hard advice, but I don't know. There's something kind of buried in that string of words. He gives such hard advice, but you like it. But you took all your purchases, all your dolls, and your cardboard record store promotional, blah blah blah. And you understand where I'm going with this, you guys? He gives such hard advice, but you're still asking for it.
Yeah. Yeah, and this song, wasn't this the latest written song on the album in 1995?
Yeah, it's a
94, 95.
The 1996 Stevie Nicks solo album that was supposed to be called Destiny Riding. That was the name of it, Roland. Did you know that? It was called Destiny Riding, whatever it takes to be free. That was the name of it. And that was the 1996. Yes, it's true. You guys don't know that, but it's true. My Aunt Stevie we're talking about.
She said one was written in 94 and one was written in 95. So this one and Twisted. So one
Destiny Riding, that's pretty good.
This was 95.
So I think Hard Advice hangs with the best of the Belle Fleurs and, you know, the Mabel Normans and all the stuff from the Gothic Trunk.
Yeah.
It worked.
All right. Any other thoughts on this gem before we move on?
No, I'm pretty much. It's important.
Turn off that radio. Turn off the radio.
Write your own song.
Write your own song.
That doll is too expensive.
So speaking of Stevie writing her own songs, she did not write the next song on the album. Vanessa Carlton did, but the backstory for those who don't know it is Stevie's mother, Barbara, I believe was her name, was dying in the hospital, and
nothing at home.
She kept singing Vanessa Carlton's Carousel song, so Stevie recorded this with Vanessa as a tribute to her mom. And you know, I'm not a huge Vanessa fan, but I love the song, and I think this version here just hangs with the rest of the album. My buddy's mom died around the same time this album came out, and I just listen to the song a lot. I think it's a gorgeous song that hangs with all the other gems here. So,
Yeah.
What do y'all think of Carousel?
I like it a lot. She did not write it, but I'd rather hear a good song she did not write than a bad song that she wrote. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
I think this is a very nice. It's very sweet, and there's actually a video for the Vanessa Carlton version if you look it up too. So it's a very sweet song. I like it.
And she's invested in it. You can hear that she's really feeling it.
Yeah. And the owls make me think of the Moonlight video instead of like the belladonna cockatoo is the owl. Moonlight. The thunder part is very Stevie Nicks, casting spells. I'm wondering if Vanessa was, because of her friendship with Stevie Nicks, was inspired through her Stevie Nicksness to do this kind of song.
It's interesting because Vanessa's version, her lead vocal is actually the harmony she does on the Stevie version.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Alicia.
Well, to answer some of Roland's, because I remember when I'm not a huge Vanessa Carlton fan, but I was kind of unemployed for several months in 2011 when this song, Carousel, the album that it comes off of for Vanessa, came out that same year. And that album is based off of, I want to say, Watership Down. That's it. It's all the rabbits.
Oh, the bunnies, the rabbits.
And so that album, so I haven't read the book. I will say that. But
it's called Rabbits on the Run, right? The album?
Yes.
Okay.
And if you listen to it, I guess with that book in mind, that novel, you can maybe start pulling some things out here relating to it. But she kind of took that novel and compared it to life and this, that, and other. And I remember this was kind of like the lead single off of it. And I liked it at the time. I find
Which novel?
Huh?
Which novel?
Watership Down?
Yes, thank you.
Oh, right. Okay, thank you. Got it.
You know, I'm going to make a bold statement and say I feel like Stevie took ownership of the song as much as she did Stop Dragging My Heart Around.
Yeah.
And I think you're right. I think you are right.
Because there's other covers like Every Day and what is it? Was it Fire Burning or Cry Wolf? That's just like, but these ones, like she really put her heart into it.
I think she really connected to this.
Yeah.
I think her mom playing this around helped her. But it also seemed, this is kind of another one of those songs where, okay, this didn't work out. Let's move on. Love's going to come around again, sort of thing. White rabbits on the run. It's
the carousel from Circle Game coming back again.
Yes. Yes.
And just not so the hardcore fans, I realized Stevie did write Fire Burning. I made a mistake. I was thinking of Cry Wolf. So stay out of the comments, everybody.
Yeah.
Okay.
Any other thoughts on Carousel? Jim?
Yes, it fits really well on this album. There's a lot. She's really feeling this. I mean, the story behind it is very, very important. It's a lot of the things she done on this were like, I don't care if the record companies pressure me to do this or that. It's about, this is what I'm doing, and I'm just going to go ahead and do it. And a lot of this stuff ended up on this album. And just go ahead and, a lot of sentiment here, a lot of, this is a good example of the maturity of like on Twisted, that maturity that she added to it, just getting older and being wise, really brings this song together. And I think it's better than Vanessa's version.
I do too.
That Vanessa, I love that. It's a VH1 staple, what she did, in that the piano, that video is really kind of cool that she's out and the piano's, she's drawing a platform, the piano's moving
She's
around.
on the truck?
On a truck.
1,000 miles?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a cool video, and it was a good song. It's just your what's it, 2010? That was a VH1 staple. That's kind of what they put out there, and Stevie covered it and made it her own. And then the thing about her mother, and it's her album, and she put whatever she wants on it. It's not a throwaway or anything by any means. It worked.
I think it's interesting. An album where the premise is Stevie Nicks written songs from her past, except for this one. But this song was so good that I never saw one fan gripe that this was on the album. It was so good that I just think everyone accepted it. And the story. Yeah. Alicia, which version did you like better, Stevie's or Vanessa's?
Well, I definitely hear Stevie's more than Vanessa's. So I guess I have to say Stevie's. But I think Vanessa's is more piano driven, which makes more sense.
Right.
But I would have to say Stevie's just because it's the version I have.
Yeah.
I never bought Vanessa's, but it's interesting. I was kind of, as you guys were talking, I like some of these lines, and it kind of fits with some of the songs here. All I hear is the music, and the beauty stands before me. It kind of goes back to what we just did with Hard Vice.
Yeah.
It's in the mute, and love comes back around again. It's a carousel, my friend. It's never too late to change the pace. Oh, how the days creep up on you. And the goodness is something you don't have to chase. It makes me think of Watch Chain. It makes me think of Twisted.
The song so belongs here. So belongs.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And it's interesting. It's a really good song to choose. And she does hold it.
And if I didn't know that Vanessa Carlton wrote it, I might have thought Stevie Nicks wrote it.
Now I'm going to say something that's maybe not very nice, but I just always felt like Vanessa Carlton wasn't. I think she's talented, but I never put her on the levels like a Stevie Nicks level songwriter. But this song is Stevie Nicks level songwriting, especially when Stevie sang it. So props to Vanessa for,
Vanessa.
Yeah. I didn't know that she was that close with Stevie, that she'd be in the room with her when her mom died.
Stevie married Vanessa to her husband because Stevie got one of these strange licenses to be a minister.
I have one of those
through the internet.
I just did
and
one.
She married them officially. Yeah.
The Church of Universal Life. I've married 8 couples.
Yeah.
I have some questions about that.
What, the marriage?
It sounds dark-sided. It doesn't sound like it's of God.
There's photos of that wedding.
They are on the internet. I've seen those photos.
That's a different subject.
All right. Any thoughts on Carousel?
I'm talking about Jesus.
All right. Any thoughts on Carousel?
I'm kidding. It's a joke. I'm just kidding.
All right.
Good song. Nice song.
Next is now I thought the demo for Blue Water was beautiful. And I feel like this is one of the rare cases on this album where I don't feel like she did the demo justice. I don't like this 70s smooth rock thing that the song goes into, featuring Lady A, as they're called now, formerly Lady Antebellum. What do y'all think of Blue Water?
Well, at least you don't make me feel so bad. I like the demo better, but it was because her voice going with the piano, she could
it's
hit
so
those
pretty.
notes. Yes, it kind of sounded like she was able to kind of wave with it, almost like it was the water going in and out.
That asshole.
The piano. I remember the first time I heard that demo. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic.
Yeah.
And the version off of this album is more like a country, soft rock sort of Eagles sort of version.
You know what vibe it gives me? And you all are gonna make fun of me. It gives me Pointer Sisters Slow Hand.
I like it because it brings back memories of having that one cassette with this song as a demo, which I'd never heard before that time, plus the Garbo of that time and Watch Chain and Cat House Blues. It was all on one tape that circulated back in the day. So I like it for nostalgic reasons. And as you know, it's okay. It's an okay song.
I don't feel like that singer from Lady A added anything.
Oh, the guy, yeah.
That was some Two Kinds of Love. Bruce Hornsby improvising going on up in there.
But is it only the guy or the whole Lady Antebellum? Because there's like 4 of them.
Maybe they sing on the choruses, but He does some
yeah,
solo.
there's a lady in there too. Yeah.
Okay.
To say the least. What's her name? Hillary something?
Yes, they're all there. They're all there.
Oh, they're all there.
I have sent her a couple of emails. She's not responded yet. Hillary? Well, she's already married.
Hillary Scott.
Sorry, Nathan.
Thank you. Thank you.
Jim, what are your thoughts on Blue Water?
Well, I like the original demo the most, but this is an interesting. It's like when this ends, it's kind of this ends so it ends. It's not long enough, like the original. I love listening when I'm walking along the beach. I love to put the headphones on and listen to Blue Water, and that was really a favorite.
The demo or the 24 karat version?
The demo.
Oh, the demo. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, see the demo. You listen to the demo when you're beach walking up.
Yeah, it's very.
Sorry, Jim.
But this does work for me because it's Charles Kelly, the man from Lady Antebellum. When he comes in, okay, it's like a male-female part, like in a lot of country or in a lot of country records and that sort of thing. And then, but when Stevie comes back, I want to be your friend. That just kind of tears me up. The way she just emphasizes that. I mean, he did his part. He wasn't there to dominate that song.
Right.
He was there to just play a male role, which ain't a horrible thing. And then Stevie comes back. I want to be your friend to the end. That was really good. That was a high moment. And they did end it early, but there's good harmonies at the end. I mean, it was a bit disappointing that, like, the length, they could have made this into like a masterpiece, about the length of the demo, but they didn't. But that's time constraints too. But I'm glad it's on the album.
Wasn't this part of her Ladybug and Goldfish series?
Yeah.
Goldfish and Ladybug.
Yeah. The cartoon that she's been working on for 50 years.
Oh yeah, like the Rhiannon movie. Yeah, and her book.
I just thought this demo was so beautiful, and I thought the album version was just slick, and that's not what I was looking for from Blue Water. But
I agree.
All right. Any thoughts on Blue Water before we move on?
Yeah, I have this crazy Stevie Nicks sex fantasy that she and 2 or 3 of the ladies will go out on the Santa Monica, not on the pier. Y'all know where the Santa Monica pier is?
The Ferris wheel.
But on the sand, they're going on the Santa Monica sand, and they're gonna. I just have this entire thing in my head, and Blue Water in particular is a song that they do. Do you understand? It's like they hang out on they take all the recording equipment and all the big mics and stuff out on the sand, and they cut and they do Blue Water one time and that's the cut that goes. Do you understand?
And then in the interview, Stevie's like,
that's really how Blue Water was meant to be created. And so this thing that they did in Nashville with what's his balls,
Steve Stewart.
It's kind of an abomination that you would even do Blue Water like that, because that's a song that somebody does. I mean, and you stare at the sea and the sea smiles for you. I mean, that's a song. I mean, this is why we love Stevie. This is why we love Stevie. She's a little tiny lady. I mean, it's just hard to describe exactly, but the feeling of the Blue Water song that was captured as a demo, a lonely lady doing a Blue Water song, is completely lost.
Yeah.
In the thing that Lady A does. And I mean, it's a cool, I guess. I don't really like it, but anyway, you guys get the idea.
So do you feel like Stevie in her interview would have been like, we went out to Santa Monica and we recorded at one time and we never could get a take like that first one on the beach?
But that's not practical. I have no idea. I don't know what I'm talking about, but because if you were actually to go and try to record a song on the beach, you would have so much background noise and different shit that it would never work, right?
Now, more importantly, Nathan, am I in?
But it's a neat idea that you would record that you would get a thing out there and just record it right there on the beach, right? Isn't that a neat idea? Jim, what do you think? I'm sorry.
Well, yes, I get your point. There's times when you're at the ocean, it's very quiet. If you just get the right moment and record, and the water sound could be a part of the recording.
Just like on Trouble in Shangri-La, there was a lot of ocean on that album.
It what's the Doors song?
Exactly, the waves crashing in the background become the
And Love Changes.
score of the.
It could have been like the Doors,
the song of the rain sound.
Riders of the Storm.
That's it. With
yeah.
the rain sound. With the rain sound. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they could have. It would have been kind of a dated thing if they tried that, but you know, that was
My understanding of this song is that she met Sharon Solani in '78 or so, and they sat on the beach in Hawaii and kind of like spontaneously sang this.
Oh yeah.
1978. That was a pretty good writing era.
See, she could record it at Fleetwood's at the restaurant. She could have
The rest, yes, yeah.
She could have set up her gear at Fleetwood's. All right. Do you think Mick Fleetwood's having trouble keeping kitchen staff like all the other restaurants in the world right now?
Probably.
Oh my!
Look at the prices he charges.
Should we all go apply at Fleetwood's?
Very good.
Okay. 3
Wouldn't
songs
that be
left.
funny if 7 of us went and just turned in our applications at the same time?
The
Are you
work
hiring,
there.
are you hiring
No,
six
it's
of us?
me.
For different
It's me.
experiences.
Okay, so the next song is a little ditty that was floating around. It's pretty close to the demo version. Cat House Blues was always just a cute little ditty. I never really felt that much about it because just there. Like, I don't love it or hate it. It's silly. It's meant to be. It's supposed to be about sex workers, correct? But, you know, it's a short little thing. What do you all think of Cat House Blues?
My reaction was, she wrote that?
Yeah.
Yeah, she wrote that.
It's kind of ragtimey. Alicia.
To me, it's a novelty off of the record. I think it's cool to hear her sing something that's a little more jazzy
Yeah.
and funky, but it's not the song I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta hear it. You know, if I'm putting this on driving or something, it's kind of a song I skip. It's like, oh, okay.
It doesn't rock
You
my
get the
world.
Cat House Blues mood sometimes, and you have to hear it, right?
No.
Sometimes.
I don't think I'm ever in a
Alicia?
So, I mean, it's nice to have it. It's nice to hear something different. It's surprising that well, I guess it's not really surprising. If you start looking through her love life, she's been with every other guy, and I was a rocker in the late 70s. So she kind of has some idea, I guess, but it's nice.
What was written?
The song doesn't rock my world, but it doesn't offend me either. I'm just kind of like, okay,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
60.
Any other thoughts on Cat House Blues? I don't think this is one we can really have a half-hour discussion about. Jim.
Yeah, I just looked here. This was written in 1969.
Oh,
This
wow.
This was kind of like Goldfish. It was an innocent young lady or songwriter singing about debauchery, and her life ended that way. So, a lot of it. So, I'm glad this is on the record for posterity. For,
Sure.
it's
out there.
It's fleshed out. It's a good vocal. It's still a cute song sung by someone that's towards 70 or 65 or whatever when she was at that time. I like the horns on it. It's kind of like it's structured a little different where there's a horn part, and then I think at the end she sings another line, then the horns come back in.
Right.
It's a nice little reworking. It's cute. It's part of her legendary status. It's not like a groundbreaking song. It's a little oddball, and when you have the backstory of this of struggling. This was before 69 was prior to Buckingham Nicks.
Mhm.
You know, this was just, just sitting down and using your imagination and writing something. She must have saw a movie with, prostitution and stuff. And I came from South Dakota where they used to have whorehouses in Deadwood. I mean, that it kind of lends itself to that, the Wild West. It's a Wild West theme to it.
It's interesting with all her songs that she could have picked, like, let's do Cat House of Blues.
I dare to do it live.
Yeah. What if she opened her show with Cat House of Blues? That was the opener.
It would work. It would work for the, the people that know it. I think if she did that with a dance and a little, provocative, I think it would really get a lot of hoots.
It's interesting that this made both editions of the album. I think Watch changed the stronger song, and that was only on the deluxe, in my opinion.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I guess she sung her versatility with this one. Any other thoughts on this little ditty?
It's a fun song.
I'm glad it's on there.
Because it shows that she has a sense of humor. She's funny because some people don't see her that way. She's so mysterious. She's so serious, and she writes these like sad, mystical songs. But she has a funny side.
It adds a little levity, a little lighthearted.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Which we need sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so we have 2 songs left. The next one, I made a mistake when I said "Lady" was the first single. I think the first thing I heard from this album was "The Dealer."
Okay, yeah.
And this song had been kicking around. This was an outtake from Belladonna, and there's a few really great demos of the song. I do like the 24 karat gold version, but I feel like her vocals were a little strained and screamy on the version here. Well, what do you all think of "Dealer"? Roland.
It's okay, and if it was meant for the Belladonna era, I'm glad it wasn't on the record because the record's on the Belladonna. The actual songs on Belladonna are better than this song. This one is one of the weaker ones. So this would have been a B-side for me on a single off one of the Belladonna singles. That would have been there for me.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not the strongest song off like the Belladonna 10 or so.
I like the demos where she's talking about her grandfather Jesse, like Jesse used to say or whatever. I thought that was a cute thing.
Right. Yeah.
All right. Anyone else want to talk about "Dealer"? This is one that was kicking around for a long time.
Well, this is interesting because it seems like this album is chock full of kind of both sides now sort of songs or landslide. And I think this one kind of falls again on that line.
Yeah.
The fact that she wrote this probably in the late 70s, talking about how she, it's my fault, my move, my game. I know I've kind of thrown the cards sort of thing. I'm the mistress of my fate. So it's almost like she knows. That kind of goes back to Twisted. But it's interesting how she kind of knew. She had a lot of kind of like
premonitions.
That's the word, yes. of everything going on in her life. So the lyrics are interesting, how she looks at it as like a poker game and how you have to play the hand that you're dealt. And that's an interesting metaphor to life and whatnot.
I love this as the second to last song on the album, as opposed to the second. I think this is a good towards the end to sum things up. And kind of going on what you're saying, Alicia.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's maybe the strongest song off the album, but I don't think it's the worst song off the album. So I think it's all right. If I was to hear the demos or the unreleased versions, I guess she released one with the Belladonna Deluxe.
I'm sorry. What do you think is the worst song on the album, Alicia?
I would say Cat House Blues. But I think she sung it
good.
Good.
To do a high and a low. Good to do a high and a low.
To me, Cat House Blues is just a novelty song. She sung it great. It's but I don't think it's anything that anybody's like, oh my gosh, this is fantastic. I just have to listen to it. It's kind of like, okay, this is cool to know that Stevie wrote something in a different style, a different. But that would be why I would say Catalyst Blues would be the worst one off the album for me. And Ladies right there above that.
Did anyone else feel that the vocals on Dealer were a little strained? Like, I felt like her vocal on the demo was so effortless, and you could tell that some of these notes were pretty high in her range for this one. And she didn't adjust the melody. She kept the notes high and kind of went for them, which I appreciate it.
Okay.
Which
Jim, what-
demo were we talking about, Jeremy? Where was she straining?
Dealer. It was my... Like the second verse.
I like when she said to the dealer that when the sun comes down, it still shines, or whatever. There's a little thing in there in the second chorus that she does that really is it's kind of a hidden little moment of upliftedness. Do you know what I'm talking about, Jim?
Yes.
And I will say I'm being a little
And it
picky.
still
I do love...
shines, and it still shines. There's something she does there.
Yeah.
But I really think that otherwise, aside from that little jewel, aside from that little diamond in the rough, that the dealer is right on par with Starshine. You have a turd at the end, at the beginning of the album, and you have another letdown as about 2 tracks left of the end of the album.
So this is the song you're thinking of, Nathan, in the beginning when you said there was
this
another
is
one?
the one. Yes,
Okay.
sir. Yes.
Jim, what do you think of Dealer?
This could have been like a hit somewhere in the 70s. I mean, there's a lot of imagery and about, you make choices and sometimes that hand works and sometimes it don't. I don't know what this was done in 78. Fleetwood Mac could have picked this up. They were well known. This could have been like a top 25 or something back in the day. It's a good song. And there's a piano part. There's a real soft piano part or little instrumental part like in the middle there. That's pretty. It brings it back down and then it brings it back up at the end. It's a little interlude in the middle. I like that. This is a very, gosh, if you like Fleetwood Mac, Tom Petty, and Stevie Nicks, this really fits in your wheelhouse. It's very familiar sounding material and lyrically and everything. It's not her best work. These are all like the backup players, this whole album, but they're good backup players.
Right.
There are guys that come off the bench and they'll let the Edge of 17s take a breather and they'll do the job. I mean, they're just some fine material on this album, lyrically, musically, the whole bit. But they're not like iconic.
Right. All right. Well, do we have any other thoughts on the Dealer? All right. We have one song left. Oh, Nathan.
I just want to throw out that it's a shot. When people call the song The Dealer, I really think of the song is called The Mistress of Her Fate. Such a much better title. And really it pulls out a much better little phrase in the song, which is, don't you agree, Roland?
It was called that around the fan circles back in the 90s and before the internet.
Before we knew
it was called this Mistress of the Fate, Mistress of My Fate, or people call it Mistress of My Faith, which is incorrect, but there was a whole argument about that. But yeah, you're right. It was called that for a while. People don't know.
And I think it's a better title and it really captures the spirit of the song a little bit better. And
well, on that note, I think Designs of Love is better than That's All Right.
Well, I disagree. Well, I agree with you again. Now here we are on the same side again.
Yes,
The Designs of Love, like you're some kind of love architect or something.
Right, but then it would be Love in Store, Book of Love, and Designs of Love, which is very repetitive on Mirage. Maybe that's
those are three. I thought that was one great song with 6. Yeah, that's a great idea. What are they? That's a great idea. Just put them all into one song, dude. Book of Love, Designs of Love, and Love in Store.
And Book
That's
of Miracles.
and Big Love.
Book of Miracles.
Remember, Can't Go Back is really Wild Heart. Remember that?
That's right.
Or Wild Heart is really Can't Go Back.
Right.
You've left me speechless. I'm out.
Okay. So Stevie Nicks was listening to Mark Knopfler from Dire Straits' soundtrack to a movie that was all like Irish instrumentals. And she wrote lyrics to one of his songs. And she sent it to him, and he said that she could not use it.
Really?
So if you YouTube the Mark Knopfler album, you can hear the instrumental that is kind of She Loves Him Still. But I guess when Stevie revisited the song in 2014, Mark said that she could indeed release it finally. So that's why you have all those like Celtic flutes on there and stuff. Because it was. Has anyone else heard the Mark Knopfler instrumental?
I did recently, and I didn't know that it was exactly. And I thought they were friends and they co-wrote it. Then apparently, she just took some music she liked and put words on top,
which is so Stevie.
But I think the song is very, it's one of her typical slow ending songs, like Second Time, and the Tower, the Don't Take Me to the Tower song there on
Goodbye,
those
Baby.
kind of songs, which are, they all kind of sound alike, and they're not that distinguishable from, let's say, something grand like Beauty and the Beast or Love Is. That's my opinion. It's okay, but it's not very, it's kind of forgettable, to be quite honest.
Right. All right. Anyone else? She loves him still, Alicia.
It's really sad. I don't think I really get to this song very often. But then again, I'm repeating the first half of the album like 3 times. Those first several songs are just great.
They're powerhouses.
Yes. So by the time I get to this one, I'm a little bit jet lagged, I guess you could say, Stevie lagged, whatever. So the 1 or 2 times I've heard it, I think it's a beautiful song. It's nice, but it's not anything that I'm like, ooh, wow, I just have to listen to it. Maybe the older versions, I think, stick more in my mind than this one.
What's her final words? The sands of time cast their net or something?
Sands of time pass through me. It's like that, the one on Say You Will, the last song.
Oh,
something like with an hourglass, all that kind of stuff, right?
So, Alicia, we're back to the sands of time again. In the
Watch Devil.
Straight back to the sea.
Yep.
So
everything connects. The chain of chains.
Yes, it's interesting how it kind of weaves through this.
If we really sat down and really unpacked all these songs, I bet we'd find a lot of interconnectedness if we really dug into it. Which I don't think I have the patience or emotion to.
Well, it's interesting because some people have, I don't know, I'm in a couple other fan groups, and people kind of go Stevie, and then you go, you don't realize how much you can unpack with those lyrics. There is a lot to connect there. She seems to do a lot of, and as a songwriter, she can copy and paste her own lines, and it's plagiarism, but it's plagiarizing herself.
Mm-hmm.
But it allows those songs to, at least to me, it's like connecting them, and so it's like giving you the kind of the process of her emotions, or how she's kind of looked at that one event through the years, or however you want to frame it. It's really kind of interesting because I don't know any other artist that really kind of does it that way.
Madonna does it a little bit. I guess that's a different discussion. But on her Confessions album, she would throw in like a lot of song titles from some of her other albums in the songs because she was like in that reflective space.
Huh. Okay.
But not like Stevie. That Stevie kind of. Do you know my favorite? This is a different discussion, but I love on "Say You Will" how she has the verse about "I love the city, I love the lights." How she uses two different songs.
Yeah.
That's my favorite of this. That Stevie.
I love that line. She does Illume and then Destiny Rules.
Destiny Rules, and it works in both. I love it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we definitely will be coming back to do some Fleetwood Mac albums after we finish off the Stevie, and maybe not in order. Maybe we should just jump around and do what we're feeling when the mood strikes. So we're not
We could
chained
do
to.
her songs from the Fleetwood Mac records, like Landslide, Rhiannon, and Crystal, and then Dreams, etc., etc.
Well, see, I like the whole band though. I'm equally a Christine
good.
fan. And
Yeah, the whole album. Why not? Yeah.
Jim,
Yeah.
what do you think of She Loves Him Still?
It's a very tender, sweet song to end this album. And what I'm wondering, what is this song about? Who is it about? You know.
I think the demo came out around the Rock a Little time because it was on that particular cassette with Rock a Little stuff. So Joe Walsh, maybe.
84. It was 84.
Yeah, it was around that time that cassette came out.
Like we were talking, the lyrics at the end is from another song. I call that one The Tower. It's really
Goodbye, Baby, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, we were talking about all the interchangeable lyrics, and I don't think she does this particularly on purpose, because you kind of find out the code. It's kind of like it's random. Here, there, just sprinkled. There might be 2 or 3 albums where there's no connecting words, but then it might be 4 albums later. There's, some words that refers to an event long ago. So I don't think it's just, it's just her writing. And sometimes a phrase would work again.
Hey, do you know another one I love? I can think of 2 more that I really love. I love The 1,000 Days, Whole Lot of Trouble. She uses the same words. You're not my friend. You're not my love.
Yeah.
And then in Blue Lamp and Welcome to the Room, Sarah.
Okay.
Downstairs with the big old house is mine.
Yeah.
It's on both of those.
Mm-hmm.
So,
okay. Yeah.
Stevie, we just love you.
And we hope you do a part 2.
Now,
Julia, All the King's Men, whatever songs are out there still.
let's finish with She Loves Him Still. Then let's talk about a part 2. Is there any other thoughts on She Loves Him Still before we move on? Now, I'm going to say something. Lisa, do you have anything?
No.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I feel like her best demos were on this album. I don't think there's a lot left. There's maybe like 4 or 5. To me, like Space Needle.
Space Dance, I like that. I would like her to do that.
Julia, Forest of Black Roses.
That Rhiannon stuff, Mistaken Love. Have you heard that?
Oh, yeah, Mistaken Love's good.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
But then,
the 3 Birds of Rhiannon, the Rhiannon Project.
There's a lot of garbage, though. Like the stuff from another side of the mirror. What are some other demos that you guys feel could be on
There's like Joan of Arc, which I heard once or twice, and what a bore.
I love that one, Joan of Arc.
Really?
That 80s.
It reminds me of Mabel Normand, so maybe she'll do something really wonderful with it when it's actually done.
Alicia.
Well, it makes me wonder what else does she have in the vault that we don't know about. I mean, she pulled out Heart of Ice, and it kind of surprised us.
There's Mirror.
Oh yeah, no, that came out as a B-side.
That's done.
Okay.
So, I mean, she has.
But you know about Mirror.
Yeah, the other thing that surprises me, and we kind of saw this within your dreams. She said she has reams and reams of notebooks for lyrics.
Yeah.
You need somebody who can write music, because she's kind of tapped out all of her ideas with her 6 piano lessons and guitar lessons. But supposedly she still's got a couple hundred
poems. There's material.
Could you not bring somebody in to help her and do like another In Your Dreams?
No.
Yeah, Sandy Stewart, who writes music with her before. What happened to you?
And where's Sandy?
I mean, it's amazing to know that she's got so much kind of in the trunk that we don't have a clue about. And we know a good deal about it, but it seems like there's more there.
Yeah.
Now, one thing I forgot to mention is, didn't all the fans know that Hard Advice existed because she copyrighted it in 1995? So I think it was in the ASCAP database, but no one knew what the song was till this album came out.
Is that publicly accessible?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I've gone through all her registered
Really?
songs before. Mm-hmm.
Wow. So it's something like Julia or Baby Doll or these songs you've never heard about there?
Some of them are and some of them aren't.
Why would you copyright something and then don't do it for a million years? What's the point of copywriting if no even
Because she may have planned on putting it on an album at one point.
Oh, maybe okay.
It's legal. You gotta get that in a legal document because someone could come up with same lyrics.
Yeah.
Then you'll
Or
have
like the Sarah lady back in 79, 80.
Right.
you gotta
That
get
lawsuit.
you gotta get that recorded legally, or someone's gonna come up with that same lyrics, and then you come and this wasn't legally done. Tough luck. I made $1 million on something you wrote, but I came up with myself by coincidence.
Yeah, but it's hard to have. I can't imagine someone else writing. It's. I moved away from the house that held nothing but messages. That's very Stevie Nicks.
Yeah,
I can't imagine me writing that coincidentally.
Now we forgot to go deeper. That Mabel Norman's estate sued Stevie for saying that she was ruining Mabel's legacy, and I'm thinking like, I don't think anyone's really heard of Mabel Norman these days.
She's totally forgotten.
Yeah, so
unfortunately,
I think that probably gave that family more publicity than they would have had otherwise. Bless their hearts. I know it's hard to lose a relative.
Yeah,
probably the last 30 years, anyways. Yeah. Well, it's also funny.
Jeremy said, "Bless their hearts."
Bless their hearts.
Well, what's funny is that you have Mabel Norman here, and you have Greta off of
Garbo.
Sweet Angel.
Right, and then Garbo, the B-side.
Yeah, I mean, does Stevie watch nothing but 30s movies or something?
Yeah.
Well, no, because she watches Twilight. All right. So after tonight, we just have one Stevie Nicks discussion left next month. We're doing all the compilations and the live albums. We're just going to zip through and say what we like about each one of them and touch on the unique tracks. But before we end tonight, let's rank 24 Karat Gold songs from the vault on a scale of 1 to 10. Alicia.
Of course, you have to do me first. Well, I feel like 6, 7. There's just, I like the slower songs don't do it for me off of this record, but everything else, and then throw in Cat House Blues, but everything else is really solid for me. So I don't know, 7.
7. Usually Jim's in my upper left, but because he left and came back, you're now at the bottom, Jim.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, any other thoughts, Alicia, before we move on?
Oh,
I think it's a good record. I would recommend it. However, I realize that this is kind of the B-sides to Stevie's career.
Right.
But my experience to my friend who's like just Stevie hits, this wasn't a good record for him. He's like, I'm glad to see that she's doing something different and she's releasing and creating, but he didn't particularly like this record.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is, I guess. So that makes me kind of wonder if casual fans would enjoy this. I think
that's kind of
a lot of these songs have kind of a funky feeling to them, and I don't mean that badly, like R&B or anything. I think it's kind of got that old. I like how somebody said Stone sort of feel. She really kind of did something. It's familiar, but it's not familiar.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If that makes any sense. And I like the fact that there's quite a few songs that show a more maturity to her. There is a nice progression here. It's just as she's getting older, for whatever reason, for me, slower songs, they're nice, but they're not like what I've heard the songs from like the 70s or 80s for whatever reason. It's so.
All right, Roland, what do you give it? Scale of 1 to 10.
8.5, 1.5 off for Lady, which is boring and repetitive, and for I Don't Care, which I don't care for.
Nathan, scale of 1 to 10. 24 karat gold.
Oh, I'm gonna give it an 8. It's pretty good, almost all the way through. And I thought when All the Beautiful Worlds came out, I was like, did they just do a 1983 vocal? I thought it was a Wild Heart vocal that they did on the album.
Yeah.
I really did. And
Yes.
it took me a couple listens and reads to learn that no, it wasn't. This is some shit she did in Nashville.
Which is
So
awesome.
I give it a solid 8 out of 10, but I agree with everything everybody else said because they really have said it better than I could ever.
All right, Jim. Scale of 1 to 10.
9.2. It's a good example.
Just give it a 10. You go 9.2.
9.2. In Your Dreams was 9.5, I think. So it's a drop down a little bit because a lot of the good material was used up on the In Your Dreams. So this is a good example of what she can do. Her vocals are still pretty darn good. I think she's I mean, you can tell. I mean, she can't do certain things like she did in the 80s, in the 70s. But she's rather convincing vocally here, and she and the musicians that came together for this were very professional. It's a very crisp album.
Mhm.
It's very, it's not muddy or anything like that. It's very classic rock, country tinged in a way, and a little bit of different influence. Cowboys blues is a little jazzy thing, but jazz and country, and there was a period in the 70s where there was just everybody was putting out some great stuff, and this is kind of a little bit of an example of that era, the leftovers of that era. So it's a great example of her writing and and what she can do, still can do vocally. A very good album.
All right, and I'm going to go ahead and also give it an 8 because I feel like this is a Stevie Nicks album through and through. She put all of her Stevie-ness in there. There's no songs from the label that they want to be a hit. I gave it an 8 instead of a 10 because I Don't Care is terrible. And the chorus repeated too much on Lady.
Ridiculous.
Okay.
But I do think it's an 8. I think it's a really solid album. I think, like echoing what Jim said, her vocals are on point. And it was a real surprise addition to her discography that I did not expect so soon.
Yeah.
And obviously she loved this era a lot because she continued on with the tour and then the movie all the way through this year, right?
Yeah.
So this was obviously an era that meant a lot to her.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about the tour, the live album with the next podcast, but this tour was great from this album. Just wonderful. One of her best.
She made the most money from this tour too, and it might have lasted the longest. 2 years almost. 2 years.
Wow.
All right.
Did
So
Did any of you guys see that tour?
yeah, I did.
I did. Yeah.
Don't row, baby.
I wish she
Twice.
did more songs from this album for the tour.
Yeah, me too. All right. Well, before we sign off, Alicia, thanks for being one of my patrons on Patreon. And anyone who's interested, even for a couple $1 a month, it commits me to
I owe
see my
you
computer.
money, Jeremy.
I'll take it. And then also subscribe to the YouTube channel and to my little Stevie Nicks family here. Thank you. I needed just an easy night like tonight with my buds because it's been a hard week. And I had so much fun talking about 24 karat gold. So I give you guys a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And I'll see you next month. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Well, let us know.
Bye.
When you hang up, are we gonna go?
Oh.
Is everybody gonna be divorced? We're all gonna go